Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to change a column to auto increment in PostgreSQL in case you forgot doing so while you were creating your table. I'm going to be using a tool called dbeaver to connect to my database and also write my SQL scripts that I can query to the database. So let's jump right into it. Okay, let's start by checking the version of Postgres that I'm using. I don't know if this method that you're going to use are going to work with older versions of Postgres. So I'll do that by select version. Control enter. So I'm using Postgres version 14.4. Then you can go ahead and create a dummy table. So let's call our table a demo table. Create. In this table, I just want to assume that you might have wanted to have an ID column, integer type, and then probably a primary key, but you forgot to add the auto increment constraint. Then you have another column, let's say name, give it a vector of 25, and I want to set this to not null. Okay, let's go ahead and create this table. I know in Postgres, I don't know, it won't work when you have these spaces. All right, the table was successfully created. So we can go ahead and write some demo data into it. I'm going to use random names. Insert into demo table, ID column, instead of ID column, the name column, and then values. So for the IDs, I'm going to pick random numbers just to simulate the non-sequent aspect of it. So let's here write number 3, and I'll write then another value will be 7. I'm gonna write here Mary. This one will be 5. This one will be 5. Another name, running short of names here. So like Joe. Let's see. Control enter. Then you can go into another script over here. I had already created this table, but I dropped it ever before. So select everything from the table. What is the type of here? Select demo table. All right. We can go ahead now and try to change this constraint because we want to have this ID column to be in a sequence to follow one after another. So how we can do that is in 2 ways. I'm just going to show you one method right now is trying to alter the ID column and add in a generated as always identity. So the way to do this, you alter the table and then you alter the column that you want to target and you write the keyword generated as identity. So alter demo table, alter column ID, add generated always as identity. So hit enter. Perfect. Now we can insert values without having to worry about the sequence. So insert into demo table. Now here we don't even need to specify the auto increment column, which is the ID column. We can just go ahead and add our values. So for me, I'd want to start with Steve. And the other value will be if hit enter, control enter, that is, and then you can see our updated table. We're running the script again. So we have here Steve and Eve. So they have been given the ID number 1 and 2 respectively. What that means is once we added this constraint to the ID column, the default starting value was 1. So what happens when we try to add another name in that table? So we expect it to be given, so it will move from 1 to 3, but we already have a name with the ID number 3, so it will give us an error. It will generate an error. Let's go ahead and see how that will work out. And we can just delete this. We can add some name like Peter. And there it goes. We have an error. The error message is duplicate key value violates unique constraint in the demo table. Memory key detail. So the key ID number 3 already exists. If we hit enter again, if we run this script again, or this query again, what will happen is it will move on to the next value in the sequence, which is 4, and it will be successful. Let's go back to this other script to select everything from the table, and let's see the updated table. So as you can see here, we have Peter, which has been given the ID number 4. So this will go on until, so an error will only occur when there is an ID value that already exists. So it will cause an error. If you run the query again, it will go to the next unoccupied value in the sequence. Now we can revert back to our table without the auto increment constraint. And how we are going to do that is that we are going to drop the identity constraint. So we alter the table and alter the column that we want to make this effect, and use the keyword drop identity. Identity. All right. Let's see if it's successful. Great. Now if we could come here to back to this insert statement and try to put any other value without the ID column over here, and let's give it a name like Becky. Let's see what happens. Oh, it will throw an error saying null value in column ID. demo table violates not null constraint. So once you have dropped that identity, it will mean that you should come here and add the ID column manually. I'll give it a number right now as, let's say, 12. And then we can that means that we have gone back to our previous table without the constraint. As you can see here, the new value, the new waste row has the value ID is 12. So the other way we can simulate an auto increment or change this column to an auto increment is by using a sequence. And to do that, we are going to not alter the table, but rather create a sequence. And the way to do that is using the create sequence keywords. You can just give it any name that you'd prefer. So we can give it something like demo sequence for the purpose of this video. And then this sequence is owned by the ID column, which is found in the demo table, and the demo table is found in the public schema table. This is the default schema that is provided by Postgres. So you just replace that with the schema that we are using, and the table that I want to target is demo table. And the column. So it's the way of creating a sequence. Control hit enter, and then we can set the value of that sequence using the set val function. So it accepts two parameters. Actually, it can accept until 3. So the third one is an optional parameter. So the first parameter is the name of the sequence, and here is the value of that sequence that we want to set it to. So for my case, I want to set that value to the maximum value found in the ID column, and that will be 12. So to do that, in this second parameter, we just return the value from a select statement, which gets the maximum value in the ID column from demo table. Now the third parameter is a boolean. So this one actually, if we set it to true, the value will be given this result over here +1. If you set it to false, it will just be this value that we get from this query. So I'm just going to set it to false so that demo sequence will be 12 in our case, and I want it to be select so that we can see that value in this results tab. So control hit enter. So that's 12. Now we want that sequence, we want the demo sequence, or we want to alter the column ID to start at a value from this demo sequence. Now I want it to start from the next value of the demo sequence, that will be 12. So to do that, I'll alter the table again, alter table, demo table, and also the affected column. Now we are going to set the default next one of demo sequence. Another typo, okay, sorry about that. So too many typos, sorry about that. So this should be next one. All right, now we can go ahead and insert values into our demo table. Let's try it out without explicitly specifying the values in the ID column. So this name over here, we can give it something like Brad. Let's see how that goes. So a duplicate key value violates the unique constraint demo key table. I don't know why that happened, because it actually should be going through. So let me try that. Let me run this query again. So yeah, perfect. So there is actually something wrong with whatever I was doing. So I don't know if this will occur again if I try to enter another value. Or so let me just press another name, a Chad. I'll run this script again. And there you have it. So I should have probably set this value to true. Otherwise, I really don't know why it didn't work, because if it set the default to the next value of demo sequence, it should have been 13 and it should have worked. So maybe if any one of you is an expert on this, can drop any suggestions as to why this would have happened or how to avoid this. So guys, there you have it. And let's go ahead, we can try once more adding several values. Let's see, Brian, Kevin, perfect. Now, since we have used another method, or the sequence method, and probably you might want to revert your table to how it was without this kind of sequential increment in the ID column, you can drop the sequence using this query, which is quite simple. Drop sequence and the name of the sequence. So it will, if you just write it like this, if you run it like this, it will throw an error. Let me see. It should be okay. Or cannot drop sequence demo sequence because other objects depend on it. So it is being dependent. It is being, used by other objects, and the other objects is actually this table that we created, the demo table, and it's being used on this ID column. So to make this work, we add another constraint, which is cascade, and control enter. Now we have dropped that sequence. Now if we go ahead and try to add names to this, it will ultimately not work. Also, I'm just guessing. Yeah, good. So it won't work because there's a null value in it and it violates the null constraint. So with that that means that we can go back to, we have gone back to our previous ways of just using a random IDs. And here we can use something like 17, and now this will work. Perfect. So that's how you would add an auto increment constraint to a table that lacked it, and also at the same time drop it if you don't need it anymore. So we have covered two methods, generated always as identity, or manually adding a sequence to that. So these methods, I'll add the links to the documentation in the description. So see you guys in another video. Happy coding and thanks for watching.